Hello, dear students. Welcome to DAV Mall Public School. I hope you are doing great with the chapter of refraction and dispersion of light. In today's chapter or today's topic of discussion, we will study something about lenses. Earlier, we have studied about refraction, dispersion. So, what exactly do you mean by refraction? The spreading or bending of rays of light when it travels from one medium to another medium is known as refraction. Accordingly, we have even studied about dispersion. In today's video, we will discuss about lenses and different terminology associated with lenses. So let's proceed. So what exactly do you mean by lenses? Lenses is a transparent medium bounded by two refracting surfaces. Lens. The phenomena of refractions are mainly associated with lens. It is a transparent medium which has a refracting surface, which means both side of a lens has it act as a refracting surface. A lens can be bounded by two curved surface, one plane surface and one curved surface. As you can see in this picture, there are different scenarios. As you can see, some lenses are both refracting surface, some has one plane and one refracting surface, while it varies according to the situation. It varies. So lenses are basically characterized on the basis of this structure into two types: convex lens and concave lens. Convex lens are also known as convergent lens. Why is it so? Because rays of light converge at one particular instant, whereas concave lens act as a diverging lenses wherein the rays of light diverge in different forms. As you can see in this picture, there are different types of lenses. Some are converging lens and the others are diverging lens. So how to differentiate between a converging lens? Let's see. So converging lens are thicker across the middles and thinner at the edges. As you can see in this picture, conver convex lens, they are thicker at the middle and thinner at the edges. As you can see, this portion is thicker, whereas at the end portion where apex portion arises is thin. Both these cases, this phenomena is applicable, whereas in diverging lenses, that is concave lens, they are vice versa of convex lens. How is it so? Let's see. Diverging lens are thinner across the middle. As you can see, in the middle portion, the lens are extremely thinner, whereas at the edge portion, the lens are relatively at it has larger mass. So hence, these type of structure are termed as diverging lenses. So based on these properties, lenses are characterized into sub parts. Like here, as you can see, this image consists of two refracting surface. Hence, it is known as double convex lens. Double convex lens can also be called as biconvex lens. Why is it so? Because bi means two. Since it has two refracting surface, hence it is termed as biconvex lens. And as you can see in this next picture, one side is plane, whereas the other side it is acting as a reflecting surface. So hence, since the one side which is plane and the other side it is acting as a reflecting surface, hence this type of lens is known as plane convex lens. The third type of convex lens, that is convex concave lens. Here the two words are associated with each other, but the main function of a lens, it acts as a prior one, that is convex lens. And this convex lens, it, it is also termed as converging meniscus. Here the word meniscus is used. Now don't get confused with the word meniscus. Meniscus is simply a curve which in which the substance behave differently according to this material. Meniscus you will understand more deeply in 11th and 12th standard. For a time being, this is a type of lens which you won't be discussing about it. So our main focus would be on biconvex lens. That's it. And the other type of lens we have, that is diverging lens. As you can see, this is another type of diverging lens. This diverging lens has two refracting surface. As you can see, two refracting surface, hence it is biconcave diverging lens. With a similar emphasis of convex lens, we have another type of concave lens, that is plano-concave lens. What does plano-concave lens says? Here, one side it is a plane, whereas the other side it is acting as a reflecting surface. And the third one, that is diverging meniscus. Again, here we will be simply focusing on double convex lens. That's it. So in short, what exactly lens are? Lens is a transparent medium which has two refracting surface. There are two types of lenses, convex lens and concave lens. Convex lens are converging lens, whereas concave lens are diverging lens. Based on this lenses, we will study about terminology associated with lenses. So let's see what exactly terminologies are. As shown in this picture, I have two types of lens. One is convex and the other one is concave. This one is convex and this one is concave. As the word itself speaks concave, as you can see a cave, the reflecting surface is cave over here, hence it is concave. And as per the definition of convex and concave lens are thinner at the middle portion and thicker at the edges, whereas convex lens are thicker at middle portion and thinner at the edges. So this is convex and this is concave lens. So let us study some terminology. As you can see in this convex lens, I have two refracting surface. This one is one refracting surface and the other one, this one is another refracting surface. Now this refracting surface, if I complete this imaginary part of this refracting surface, I will get an imaginary sphere of this refracting surface. With a similar emphasis, I have another refracting surface. If I complete the path over here, I will get another refracting surface, this imaginary hollow sphere. Since I'm getting a sphere, so definitely it is obvious that I will have a center of curvature. So for this refracting surface, I have a center of curvature which I'm naming as C2. Whereas for this refracting surface, I have another center of curvature which I'm naming as C1. So in short, we can say in this type of lens, I'm having two center of curvature. This one as C1 and this one as C2. And exactly at the center, we have an optical center. So optical center is termed as O here. O here. Now, the same terminology is applicable in concave lens also. This again is a concave lens. So if I complete the path of this lens refracting surface, so this refracting surface is nothing but an imaginary hollow sphere. So I complete this path with an imaginary dotted lines indicated over here. With the same line of intent, I complete this refracting surface with an imaginary hollow sphere. Since I complete this imaginary hollow thing, so it is an obvious that I will have center of curvature. So for this refracting surface, I have center of curvature named as C1, and for this refracting surface of a lens, I have center of curvature as C2. And the exact center of this concave lens is O. This center is nothing but an optical center. So let us see some different terminology. So this is convex lens and this is concave lens. So since I have two refracting surface in both convex and concave lens, so I have, this is biconvex lens. So from this type of combinations, I will have two center of curvature and two different terminology. Let's see what are the different terminologies. So this is nothing but a center of curvature, which I drawn with this animation, which is indicated with a blue color. Now, since I have two center of curvature, yes, as I told earlier, this center is nothing but optical center. For this lens, it is indicated with this line, And for this lens, I've drawn with this line. So collectively, it is written optical center. And since I was telling, since this lens has center, so it will obvious that it will also have radius of curvature. So what is this radius of curvature? The distance from the optical center to center of curvature over here. It is radius of curvature. You might be wondering that this space is neglected in terms of sphere. Yes, that's fine. That is considered, but we are considering very small distance, because of which this distance has to be neglected. You will understand this aperture phenomena slowly and steadily in 10th classes. Why we are ignoring this small portion? Because we are considering thin portion of a lens. This thin portion has to be ignored, because of which we have to understand that terminology. That terminology is radius of curvature. That radius of curvature is always the distance between optical center and center of curvature in this case. Same thing is happening over here. The distance between optical center over here of this concave lens and the till C1, it is that distance is radius of curvature. So this distance is radius of curvature for this refracting surface, and for this refracting surface I have another radius of curvature. Since this I have named as R1 and this as R2, this is also R1 and this is also R2. You can name either one, you can name depending upon the situation or depending upon what you wrote. You can also write this as C1 and this as C2, this one as R1 and this one as R2. Now, an imaginary line which passes through center of curvature and optical center is termed as principal axis. Here also an imaginary line which is passing through center of curvature and optical center, it is principal axis. Whatever I've told, it is written over here. What exactly do you mean by principal axis? It is the line passing through optical center and joining the center of curvature. This is the line passing which is passing through center of curvature and optical center. So this orange color line is the principal axis both for convex and concave lens. What are optical center? It is the point lying within a lens through which the ray of light pass undeviated. This is a ray of light. This is the optical center. From this optical center, ray of light remains undeviated, which means the ray of light will suffer minimum to minimum deflection. In reality, there is a deflection, but that deflection we have to ignore it. For understanding terminology, we have to ignore that deviation. What is center of curvature? Center of curvature, exactly the center of two sphere. As I was telling earlier, since it has refracting surface, it has center of curvature. So it is an obvious, it is a part of an hollow sphere. It is creating a center. That center, it is center of curvature. What are radius of curvature? Radius of curvature, it is the distance between optical center and the center of curvature, or the radius of two sphere of which the lens surface is a part, or known as radius of curvature. This lens surface, the distance between the surface and the center is the radius of curvature. Now, what exactly do you mean by principal focus? This topic, it is relatively important. What exactly lens has two surface. As I was telling earlier, it has two surface, so it is obvious that it has two focus. So what do you mean by first focus and second focus? Here the challenging question arises. Now again, I have to take two types of lens. This is convex and concave lens. So what exactly do you mean by first focus? First focus, first let us see different terminologies. This is why I'm drawing this line. As you can see, this is my convex lens, and from this optical center I've drawn an imaginary line. This imaginary line I have to draw in order to showcase the different amount of bending. It is an imaginary line from which I can make a ray diagram in a proper and a good way, which shows the bending is occurring from this particular point. So this is convex and this is concave mirror. This is optical center. A straight line is passing. This straight line is principal axis. So what does principal focus says? You might have studied in 7th standard about spherical mirrors and all. In spherical mirrors, there was some rule. Whenever incident ray is parallel to principal axis, the reflected ray will always and always pass through focus. So that rule is even applicable over here. So this incident ray, as you can see over here, a straight line is over here. So when incident ray is parallel to principal axis, for drawing ray diagram, I need to have minimum two incident rays. So that's why I am taking two incident rays. First incident ray is parallel to principal axis. So at this point, refraction is occurring and this reflection ray will always and always pass through focus. With a similar thing is happening over here. This is another incident ray. At this point of incidence, refraction is occurring and the bending is towards the focus. This incident ray is parallel to principal axis. The reflected ray will pass through one particular point. That particular point is nothing but a principal focus. That principal focus, more precisely, we say it as second principal focus. Why I'm using second principal focus? You will understand slowly and steadily as you progress towards next standard. But I will tell in glimpses what exactly do you mean by second and first principal focus. So as I wrote over here, first principal point is an object point. Always remember, first in this ray diagram, I will have majority of the terminologies I will have two. Like center of curvature, I will have two center of curvature. Focal length, I will have two focal length. Focus point, I will have two focus. So why there are two different points? So what is the difference between first point and second point? So the first point is an object point. Always remember, first point is an object point on the principal axis for which image is always formed at infinity. Whenever you take an object point on the principal axis, that point is an object point. As you can see, this is a principal axis. The point on the principal axis, that point is the first focus of the principal point. That is an object point. And the second focal point is always an image point on principal axis. As you can see, this point is an image point. Here the focus will always, your image will be obtained, and there's a certain condition associated with it. First focal point is an object point on the principal axis for which the image is formed at infinity. Now, and the second focal point is an image point on the principal axis for which the object lies at infinity. So let us see what does second point says first. Second focal point is an image point. As you can see, I wrote second focal point over here. Wait, hold on for a second. Yes. Why I'm writing F2 over here, why not F1? Because the second focal point is always remember, second focus point is an image point. Your image would be obtained. Why? When image will be obtained? Only when the object lies at infinity. As you can see, these rays are coming from an infinity. You might have known about this word infinity. So whenever rays of light are coming from an infinity, they will converge at one particular point. That particular point is an image point. And more precisely, we say this as second principal focus. With the similar thing, we have to understand concave lens also. So here again, I have a parallel rays of light. Parallel in what perspective? With respect to principal axis. I need to have two rays of light. First rays of light is this. Second one is this. This ray of light is parallel to this, and this incident rays of light is again parallel to this. So after refraction, it is bending in this direction. Since this is a concave lens, here the reflected ray is of diverging nature. As you can see, it is going away from this lens, and if we trace this path in backward direction, it will converge at one particular point. As you can see, this lens is of diverging nature. The reflected ray is going in this direction. So I'm tracing this path of this reflected ray in backward direction for this ray of light. The same thing is happening over here. For this reflected ray of light, I'm tracing this path in backward direction, and both the ray of intersection between both reflected ray is converging at one particular point. So that particular point is termed as f2, and the image would be obtained over here. In this case, the image was obtaining over here in this f2 position, and this again in f2 position. So always remember, second focal point is an image point. Here always image will be obtaining. Yes, and the distance between optical center and principal focus is this second focal length, or in short you can simply say focal length. Focal length is the distance between optical center and principal focus. For this convex lens, it's the same thing. The distance between optical center, that is from here till f2, that distance is nothing but focal length. Since I'm using f2, so that's why I can even say this length as second focal length. So these terminologies will help you out in understanding image formation. Thank you and have a nice day.